Test. There we go. Test, test, test. Let me check the sound on game. Looks like that's coming in. Alrighty. Hey, Robert. What a pain in the butt, man. I built a new outpost just the other day. Just yesterday, actually, I finished it up. But I apparently put too much stuff at the outpost. And even before I assigned any crew there, that's what was causing my crashes. I would go to the outpost and I'd be fine, but then I would go anywhere else in the game and, you know, a couple times zoning into points of interest or whatever later, and I would crash. If I loaded up the game on any save where I wasn't at the outpost, I could play for hours, but as soon as I went to the outpost, I would crash again. And that was before I even assigned crew there. So I think I overdid it with the outpost clutter. So I'm starting fresh on Zelazny 2 at a lake. Figured I could do this build while we hang out live and chat and whatnot. Now, I did obviously have installed gangs all here. And all of the lady folk with me are all Starborn. And I gave them all the same equipment I'm using. At least for apparel. And I picked up the adoring fangirl.
If you have any orders, I'm ready to receive them. Marching orders, food orders, tall orders. Just let me get my stool. Let me know if you want to talk some more.
Yeah, so there's that. Yep, now in Valley Girl flavor. I don't know why they gave her that voice specifically, but I mean, it works. And to think that was that mod author's first mod, which is kind of impressive if you think about it. Okay, let's see. Move. Oh, thank you, D. I don't just mill off. You're very welcome. Like I usually say, I build the mods that I want to use, and I'm just happy that other people like them too. Or I'll keep it relatively simple this time. Nothing too dramatic with gigantic open spaces or any of that. So I was doing this the other day, this little flip thing I'm doing. And somebody that was watching me on Discord didn't know why I was doing it. So I'll explain it here. This works mouse, keyboard, or controller. If you're trying to get these types of things all lined up to a grid or just to each other, whatever, you'll notice that wherever I'm pointing, for if it's a Bethesda provided thing in the Outpost specifically, some mods pull it off. It starts off at the orientation based on your camera angle, so the direction you're looking. If you flip away from it and back to it repeatedly, you can get it to just re-render. And you can then just barely turn your camera, flip, away from the item and back to it until you get the perfect pixel alignment that you want. And I'm using the lines on the floor to help line the feet up to make sure it's good to go. And then the trick is to just not accidentally rotate it while you're trying to place it, which unfortunately, I do that all the time. How was everybody's holidays? I need to go to my ship and get some stuff out of it. Oop. Let me build a box to put things in. Shut up, Sarah. Nobody asked you, Sarah. Hey, Mario. Nothing much yet. I'm just working on an outpost. Figured I would hang out and chat live while I did it. This is the stream that was supposed to happen on Wednesday this week, but that happened to be Christmas Day, and I was like, yeah, no, not streaming on Christmas Day. Got family obligations. Figured I should take care of those and be responsible. Hey, Rudiger. $15 mass. What am I missing? It might be accurate, but thought I was running lighter than that. Aid, yep. There you go, 4 pounds. Hello, Jeffrey. No, that is not out yet. The angry mechanic is in the middle of doing his part to verify that everything looks good, and I'm going to make sure that I get more thorough testing this time before it goes anywhere. So, where was that? Was that under? I think that was under furniture. Furniture, or no? It was. I don't remember. Nope, there it is. Much more gooder. What do you mean? All of these kiosks are different. As far as why am I placing one when the Terminus already has one, if that's what you're asking? Because they both have their own inventory. So I can buy stuff twice. Yeah, it's Chunks and the Starborn Terminal and Tranquility and Terrabrick. Oop. Y'all get to witness my OCD firsthand. Totally unnecessary, but I gotta do it. So the reason I did it that way is so that I got one in the right position, orientation-wise, and I just spawned the other ones attached to it so that they all got the same thing going on. Get him in the corner. Nope. That's not what I wanted to do. Anyways, I accidentally changed the doorway, so it deleted that piece. Rolled right past it, didn't I? Yep. Diagnostic machine. Pretty cool. Cool. First time I've actually put consoles behind my entryway like this. I think that works out nicely. I think it looks rather good. Yeah, I'm gonna end up doing the same thing with engines this weekend, Rudiger. Just to stack those up more, because that's the other place where the DarkStar parts just kind of overwhelm the build list. Go back here. There we go. There we go. And get him centered on the room, but towards the back edge. That's centered. Now it's slightly off. Yay, OCD. There we go. Yeah, that's a good distance. All right, and then 4 consoles. And that is perfect. To make sure, I can always go back to one that has the right alignment. Leave a spare sitting there. And on top of this guy, get the left edge lined up with that orange button right there. And now there we go, centered. Oh yeah, well, in the structural stuff gets overwhelmed because we like to run mods that turn or settings that turn on all the ship parts. So a lot of the more rare structural stuff is actually linked to the exclusive HABs. So like the big 2x2s and 3x2s, etc. That in the base game you had to actually travel to the actual custom vendor, the dedicated vendor, in order to get access to those. That's where those were from, or that's what those synchronize with. So if you have a NPC that can sell you those ship parts, then they can sell you the exclusive structural as well. But by the time you turn all that stuff on, man, oh my god, so many parts. No. Oh, yes, it is. So one of the features that will come with the big combined DarkStar mod, the new landing pad in that mod will be called the Nexus, not the Terminus. And the Nexus will have, next to the activator for the shipbuilder, it will have a series of buttons where you can click the button to turn on and off different ship parts. So if you know you're never going to build with Tayo, for example, you can turn off Tayo and build. Really, really handy. for streamlining your build list and optimizing it. And you'll even be able to turn off DarkStar parts if you so choose. If possible, I'm going to see if I can set it up to where it will be able to turn off Daratech and Avantech and Matilja without having the dependency on those mods. That's the key. If that's not possible, then I'll provide the buttons in the list, and then you'll just have to run a patch that'll apply the proper keywords to those buttons. But the goal being one building or one landing pad would be all you would need, and you'd be able to turn on and off ship parts from across the game to either have everything. And yeah, I don't use any of the Class M stuff, but I'm sure I could see a patch that adds that keyword to the toggle. I don't want to add it to the toggle automatically, because then that would insinuate that I am giving you access to Class M parts with my mod, which I won't be doing. If I ever did anything like that, it would be probably a trimmed down list of or like you know, similar to what that one mod author did with the shrunken parts, shrunken Class M. I could see something like that done my way by me, but the Class M parts themselves are, I don't know, it leads to bad places. Like, this is a almost max length ship, and it's already problematic on landing pads, you know? And good luck trying to land a full-size Class M ship like Gagarin or any of that. It just doesn't play nice. And I'm not a fan of that. Especially since I would have to support it. And, yeah, no. Not my cup of tea. In fact, a lot of my decisions are based on what I'm willing to support and deal with bugs and stuff like that on. And more often than not, I would rather just not deal with it. Why are you trying to build in the sky? Stop it. Okay. All right, so that's a good question. Very good question. The cleanup that I've just done, which is still a little bit ongoing on my existing mods, Darkstar Astro, Darkstar Manufacturing, Darkstar Emissaries, is specifically with the goal in mind that you can run those mods simultaneous with the new Darkstar. That isn't to say that that's the preferred way to play. It's just to say that I wanted to make sure that you could have the existing mods, have a save that uses different ship parts and outpost parts and whatever, and gear and everything. Load the new DarkStar side by side with the current ones. Transition your gear to the new stuff in DarkStar. Rebuild your ships with the new stuff in DarkStar. Rebuild your outposts or swap parts out. You see where I'm going with that? And then once you're fully transitioned to just DarkStar, then you could selectively decide, okay, I'm done with DSM, DSA, and DSE. As standalone mods, I'll get rid of those and just use the new DarkStar. You'll have that option. In addition, before DarkStar launches, which it's going to be a few weeks before I'm ready to even test it, but before that launches, I'm going to be working with some volunteers from my Discord to develop transition patches. For example, I envision a transition patch that you have DarkStar manufacturing installed, you just installed DarkStar, and you install this DSM DarkStar patch, which then looks at your DSM research progress and gives you the equivalent research progress in DarkStar. It'll automatically transfer that part of your mod completion over. So things like that. We'll not be able to do that with ship parts. We may be able to find ways to do some cool things like that with equipment, but not likely. More likely, it'll just cover things like the research. But the end goal is not for you to run YNG plus. Well, no, it doesn't have to be NG plus. I'm testing it on live saves. Like, make no mistake, at no point have I subjected myself to a mod that I'm developing where I had to go to NG plus to install it or uninstall it. Every single one of my mods, if I'm installing or uninstalling or updating, it's on a live, active, I play it save. You just have to have a little bit of awareness about what you're uninstalling or installing. If I'm going to uninstall DarkStar Astrodynamics, I want to make sure none of my ships have its parts installed. I want to make sure I'm not wearing the Starborn armor that it gives me. Otherwise, I'm safe to delete it all day and night. Same thing with DarkStar Manufacturing. If I don't have any clothing that was unique to DSM, like Mark II stuff, if I'm not wearing any spacesuits exclusive to DSM, Mark II stuff, if I'm not using weapons exclusive to DSM, then there's no risk for me to uninstall DSM at any point. And it certainly wouldn't be a problem installing the new DarkStar on an existing stave. It's not going to hurt a single thing. Yeah, and the goal is so that you can run all of them temporarily while you're transferring your equipment and your spaceships and your outposts to the new stuff. And once you transition everything, great. If you want to do that transition via New Game Plus, that's up to you. But that's not going to be required in order to use DarkStar. I have a lot of players in my Discord community, for example, that still haven't even gone through the Unity or are just prefer not to. So I have to make sure that my mods work for all play scenarios. And Michael Bonnell, there's no changing yet because it doesn't exist yet. But when it does exist, you'll just install it, and then you'll have to make a plan and look at what you're wearing and what ships you're flying and decide what do I want to replace with DarkStar new stuff, or what do I keep from the old one. And so no doubts that some players, I think I'm on my 68th trip on my main character, just my main character. But I have no doubts that some players are going to continue to run all of the mods. So I have to make sure that they play nicely together. Oh, it's fine, Michael. I just wanted to be transparent for anyone listening or viewing chat logs later. That'll might see a comment like, "Oh, this so it requires NG plus," and take it at face value without understanding context. I kind of got the idea what you meant, but statements like that remain unclarified can cause confusion for people that are new to this. Oh, I can't use the DarkStar stuff because I can't go through New Game Plus. That's what would end up happening. Is I'd get comments like that left and right, and I still get those today. So. Oh yeah, no. There's definitely things. There's content in my mods that rewards you for New Game Plus trips, but none of my mods absolutely require New Game Plus, which is a very common misconception people have when they see the mods for the first time on Nexus or the Creation Store. I mean, you can see people asking that question on Reddit and YouTube and even our Discord, like left and right. floating? That is floating. Okay. Much more gooder. Go away, Sarah. Stop stalking me through the window. Go use the door. Out there being a creeper. Okay, so we got the entrance, we've got an office, and we've got a control center. The X ship parts are all of those are locked behind New Game Plus. All of the individual requirements are listed on the website, wickedgaming.com. I do not have them memorized, but it scales from 1 New Game Plus trip up to, I think, 10. If I had to go off memory. But, you know, not something I think about every day, so I don't have it memorized. I'm sorry. But to that end, the requirements for unlocking the M class parts also, the level portion of it reduces if you've been through New Game Plus. Yep. Indeed. All of the DarkStar manufacturing research is all under one tab now, called DSM. That was actually mentioned in the changelog. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Where to put? Where to put? Oh, man. Much more gooder. Okay, let's move the other one. There. Oh, feet lined up. Okay. Did I line that up according to floor grid? A little bit to the side of it. There. That's about the width of another one, so I'll just get a third one in the middle. Do the final adjustment of their positioning. OCD. The hair off. You're just a hair off also. Or is it you that's off? Yeah, well. We'll just leave... can't leave a gap, but... as close as can't. Go closer. Oh, that's annoying. Alright. I should really make some of these that snap to each other. That way you can guarantee they're in line with each other. What do you think, guys? Part of the new DarkStar? Figure out how to make these snap like the consoles snap. That's something you guys would want? Or is it just me? I mean, there's already some things that I'm going to be doing new graphics for your Outpost. So, if all of that stuff ends up going smoothly, I may very well do this then. And create some of this furniture as snappable. Because, like, I can, as you see, I can get it lined up. It's just the tedium eventually gets to me, and then I'll avoid building Outposts for months because I'm like, nope, I don't want to go through that again. And then eventually I'll get the urge to go through the Unity, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go through that again. You know how it is. You know. You get me. Where's this one? Do that orientation. And now for a little bit of color. Back. And we'll leave a mess and just say that Barrett was here. And now some dining tables. They will not get stuck on this furniture the way I'm positioning it. And if they do, it'll be very rare. I usually don't have problems like that. Because more often than not, if they want to sit at this table, for example, they'll pick a chair that's on the outside. See, these chairs are way far away. Yeah, wrong. Yeah, more often than not, I end up with, because I build crafting areas the way I do, I usually find them either sleeping or they'll be sitting in a lounge area that I built, or they're using the crafting stations. So they'll occasionally come and sit and dine, but that's usually not what I see them doing. Yeah, I usually avoid robots for that reason. I don't like them. Because I also don't like them coming into my buildings. And they love to do that for some reason. Alright, front half of the first floor is done. And now these need to be crew quarters in the back. And then when I go up, most of this up here will be for me. Not that I need that much space, but... This is supposed to be DarkStar headquarters after all. I don't think I can show my mod list on cam. Yeah, no, it some reason it doesn't do that, but so I got the Blackout, Drumbeat, Equinox, Hard Target, and Kadama and Grindle. Shades Immersive Looting, Smarter Spacesuit Auto Hide, both I have not updated because I prefer their older versions. Flexible naming, I installed that, but I haven't really done anything with it. It's supposed to let you be able to name ships and stuff with longer names. The old versions of better ship parts, snaps, and flips that don't require the ship build framework, because I don't want to run the ship build framework. Clutter V2, Royal leveled enemies, skill challenges removed because I've done those too many times to count and don't like repeating them. More NPCs have routines and stores have schedules. Just installed that last night, but basically I think that's supposed to make like Amoli at the Jemison Mercantile go to bed at night, and so a robot takes her place. Adoring Fangirl, gang's all here. All of my own DarkStar mods. The DSM Vulture patch that I made, the DSM Shattered Space patch that Angry Mechanic made, the Angry Mechanics Stem Habs. That's it. That's what I'm running right now. Well, I mean, that's your choice, Thorgan. I do know that there are some members of our Discord that are running 300-400 mods, including the DarkStar stuff, and not having problems. And then I know people that are running 50 or 60 mods and having problems. So I don't know the rhyme or reason. I think it depends more on what mods you have installed than the number you have installed these days. Let's do that one next. But I tend to keep my load order fairly light because I do the mod development that I do. I can't afford to have a crap load of mods breaking my save while I'm in the middle of developing, because then that could throw false negatives where I think I've done something wrong in my mod, but really it was something else that broke. So I tend to run fairly lean. And I just prefer that. Like I used to run several hundred mods in Skyrim as a player, but what I was running was mostly the, like 4K texture pack and stuff like that. It was just graphical stuff to make Skyrim use all of the power of my PC. It wasn't giant gameplay overhauls and stuff. And I would run like the immersive armor and weapon packs and stuff, but those were fairly tame. They added a lot of stuff, but it wasn't like a whole ton of dramatic particle stuff and whatnot. I run my mods at the bottom of my load order, and that's what I recommend to people. You can probably get away just fine with running it at the top, but I run bottom of load order. Happy holidays, Atari. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing all right. Atari is one of the Discord moderators. Very awesome guy. He did the original testing. He and Sadir and another member named Santaya did the original testing on the original Creations release of DarkStar Manufacturing. So if you like that mod, you owe him and Angry and Santaya a note of thanks. So I'm not sure what to do about that because I don't experience it. But then again, I manage my load order through plugins text directly. I just edit that file myself. So I'm in a little bit different state than what other players might be in. As far as load order help and stuff, that's always best done through Discord, where you can share screenshots and things like that. And then plus there are people on that Discord that are way smarter about load order than I am. I mean, I'm a long-time No Man's Sky player also. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Roscoe, my streams were originally created specifically to provide support. That was at a time where I was actually updating my mods once a week, and I would hop onto the live on YouTube to answer questions and help people out and what have you. It's less critical these days because my mods stabilized and I didn't need to update them for a long time. But so they kind of turned into just social affairs. But we'll get back into more meaty mod specific content soon, especially when DarkStar launches. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be a non-stop support stream. Heck. Oh. Yeah, I'm 50. I'm not young. I'm younger than you, but I'm not young. I appreciate the thanks, Thorgan. That's not why I do it, but I do appreciate it. Should I make this one another crew quarters, like a bunk room? Or should I make this more of an infirmary? An infirmary next to the kitchen? Hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I think Robert Mann here is the oldest in the group. I mean, he shook hands with Abraham Lincoln. Isn't that right, Robert? Actually, no, that's right. I wasn't going to do bunks. I'm going to do the I'm sick and dying beds. There we go. Yeah, it's a little odd to me considering it's a video game Discord, but the vast majority of our members are of the older crowd. We do have, or at least the vocal ones, we do have younger members. They just don't talk a lot. I think what ends up happening is the older members tend to have more questions. Especially the Robert Manns of the world. And so him asking a question and getting help provides the answer for somebody else that's younger that may have needed help. And they're like, oh, they figured it out for him. I got it. I get it now. And yes, we do tease each other on the Discord. You know, why wouldn't you? I mean, how can you call yourself a friend if you don't tease each other? Right? That's our mindset. Oh my gosh. I gotta change the orientation on this side. Because the beds have a screen that, screen on that side. So I gotta move the beds over a bit. But then I'm dealing with the curve in the wall. Ugh, I'll figure it out in a minute. Nope. The heck is it doing? Stop doing that. Oh. I mean, I'm sure they're working on stuff right now. When they'll release it, I have no idea. They're all on holiday right now for the... Well, they're on vacation for the holidays, or they're on PTO, whatever. But, like, we still don't even have all of the sequential patch updates yet, or content releases yet. There's, if you look at the files on PC, there's a couple numbers that are missing and have been skipped. So that means to me that they still have things in the works that they haven't released yet for whatever reason, which is a good sign. Usually stuttering in any given location is either a cache issue, in other words, the game's cache is just too large, or it's usually that something has added content to that area that isn't optimized, or just a shitload of content to that area. Well, to be fair, J-Rod, Starfield is a much larger and more complex game under the hood than Skyrim or Fallout 4 ever were. So there is so much more going on in the game files. I don't hold it against them if it's not updated at the same frequency. I would rather them take their time and do things right, to be honest. I know that's not necessarily a popular opinion, but as somebody who has lived in their game files, yeah, I am very happy with what we've gotten so far. Oh. What player numbers? What are you referring to, Angry? I'll probably miss something in chat. I have no context for what you're talking about. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on with your private conversation. As he proceeds to cuss me out. I don't like that one. Too fickle. There we go. One of my old standbys. Yes, I use the gangs all here now. I used to back in the day. Then I stopped for a while. I don't remember why, but I do again. Actually, I do remember why. When Creations Kit launched, I dropped all mods from Nexus and just ran my own only, and then eventually added a few from Creations. Because there's a lot of when we were dealing with only being able to make mods with Xedit before the Creation Kit was available. A lot of corners were cut that we didn't realize were being cut. And you only realize it when you load your mod up in Creation Kit and go, oh, so that's where that funkiness came from. That's why. Let me clean that up. So the good mod authors did, in fact, go and clean all that stuff up. I recreated my mods from scratch in the Creation Kit. And that's true as well, J-Rod. Okay, not easy to line this one up centered, but I must try. Don't you dare. Stay out of my way. I'm building. Actually, I didn't like the top texture on that one last time I used it. There we go. That's the better one. Oh, look at that. Almost perfect. First drop. Listen, can you go find something to do? Good grief. Yeah, Roscoe, I am, I have 32 years experience as a software developer. Now, am I claiming that translates into perfect mods? No. No, not at all. But I've been around the block quite a number of times. Get this out of the way, and then I need to place my carpet before I get all out of whack on that. You fuckers move. I'm about to murder some companions. This is the Lasny 2. Actually, that would be on this desk. Did center it on that. Okay. La la la. Oh my god, I hate that camera angle when they do that to you. They're both sitting there ready to have a meeting. Look at that. Oh, I have no idea. Somebody might know. These days, as busy as I am, if the mod author in question isn't on my Discord, I probably don't know who they are. And even then, I might still not know who they are. We've got over almost 1,300 members. It's impossible for my brain to keep track of everything that's going on. That's why I have moderators to help out. And it just blew up that painting thing I just did, so I'll have to do it again. Because it created a doorway. Or I didn't want one. Go back in here. And do that again. Because I liked how it looked. But I wanted to swap those other buildings over, or other habs over to the different style. I honestly, I can't say that I agree or disagree as far as I find it to be a good modding environment, but I also was not part of the Skyrim modding community or the Fallout 4 modding community, so I couldn't say, you know, if it's better or worse in that regard. But personally, I find it to be a good modding experience, at least for what I do. And there's things in the game files that I would personally like to see them clean up, but it's not going to stop me from making the mods I want to make. Excuse me. And then the age-old question, what else do I do in my bedroom? It's like the hardest room for me to decorate, always. I never know what to do if it's a dedicated bedroom. So the issue isn't about the 3D space being able to render that far. As far as rendering a whole planet or being able to walk around a whole planet. The issue is the nature of the Bethesda beast. Meaning, I'll give you an example of what I mean about based on my experiences helping to playtest Elder Scrolls Online. So Elder Scrolls Online is ZeniMax Online Media, owned by ZeniMax Studios, which owns Bethesda Gaming, right? And of course, ESO is based in Elder Scrolls, and they shared a lot of assets and concepts and lore and everything else across teams. The first few versions of that game that went into beta, specifically the open beta, which is where it became a problem, it was using an updated graphics engine, updated engine behind the scenes and everything. And due to the fact that it's an MMO and they didn't want people stepping on each other by taking loot from each other, and due to the way MMOs work for memory resources and everything else, and them being overly concerned about performance, when you walked around in different locations, you'd see things laid out on tables and hanging up and on shelves, but you couldn't interact with any of it. And people lost their goddamn minds. You would think that they had, nuked another country in real life to make a point. But no, it was just that players that were used to Skyrim and Fallout 4 hopped into Elder Scrolls Online expecting it to behave exactly like a single-player game and have all of the interactable clutter and lootable physics objects and everything else. And so they ended up having to find workarounds where it was still static stuff, permanently 3D rendered, but you could go up and interact with it like an activator, like a button, and it would open up an inventory where you could take the gray useless swords off the wall, things like that. They had to come up with workarounds like that to accommodate that player base. All that to say is we've gotten so used to that with Bethesda games that we as a community don't accept when we don't have it. Starfield is no different in that regard. It has all of those interactable clutter and physics objects everywhere you go. If you take your average point of interest, it probably has 4,000 to 5,000 of them. The larger points of interest have tens of thousands of them. Every single one of those things you can pick up with and interact with is tracking individual physics processing, individual 3D coordinate scanning and placement tracking, whether or not it's been looted, etc., etc., etc. It's a lot going on. And when you land in a zone on a world space, that is a cobbled together series of world spaces, which each one of them can contain a point of interest spawn, be it a tiny one, like the little tanks that you'll find that have just one loot chest and a bunch of debris, or a giant one like the abandoned hangar. And the only way to accommodate what No Man's Sky did of walking around an entire world, No Man's Sky did it because their game is 100% procedurally generated. And while the metrics around a given world don't change over time, the game doesn't pre-render any of it. When you land, it knows the coordinates you're landing at, and it can render basically dynamically at a distance things that that you could possibly interact with and encounter. And their POIs are very watered down compared to anything in Starfield. They don't have all of the clutter and everything else. The creatures are procedurally generated, procedurally placed. All of that means is there isn't a pre-canned collection of data objects and graphic objects that have pre-prescribed physics, processing, quest markers, and all that other stuff built in. So they get away with a lot more flexibility for exploration due to the nature of the beast. It's the same reason that other games aren't as big as Minecraft. Is Minecraft being procedurally generated, you can scale almost infinitely. Because as the player's moving through the environment, you can abandon the memory of what they've seen and gain the memory of what they're coming up to. And render the facing polygons and not render the distant polygons, etc., etc., etc. But like even with Minecraft, simulation distance is highly constrained, and what the game can handle depends entirely on what your system can handle as far as scaling up and down those configurations. You don't have those options for scaling in a game like Starfield, where the points of interest, we have expectations of what they're going to do, what they're going to have, what loot's going to be there, what collisions are going to be there. So, if I'm not mistaken, they ran an initial test with bigger areas, and they honed it down to the constrained zones that we're allowed to navigate in because of problems with the physics engine once you got beyond a certain point. So you land your ship, that's 0.000 of whatever zone you landed in, and then every other attached cell, it's tracking what's in its cell based on its 000 center point, and it's tracking its orientation from your landing zone 000. So it's like, I am X number of XYZ pixels away from that baseline, that central point, and then I have these things that are radiated off of my core, and that cascades through every point of interest, every building. Even the landing pads work that way. No, that is oversimplified and still would not be enough. You would need to remove all clutter and 3D matter from the game that you can interact with. Anything that is affected by physics and havoc that is non-critical to gameplay. So going into a POI and finding all the med kits laying around and stuff like that, most of that would become static, non-clickable. So that it wasn't jostled by havoc and wasn't being tracked by the physics engine, and therefore you could load as many of those points of interest in memory as you wanted. So, in a general sense, it's not something the community would actually want once they saw what the requirements were of making it happen. Why it hasn't been done, it's why it's not likely to be done, and modders can't do it. It has to come from Bethesda. Yeah, if as it stands right now, unless they are working some serious magic, I know Unreal developers were trying to work with Bethesda to do a modified engine that would do what they need, because beyond even just the physics and all that other stuff, which is actually problematic for Unity and Unreal, the way Bethesda's game engine works is not transferable to get the same behaviors out of Unreal and Unity. And those behaviors are what we all love about Bethesda games. So while we would get potentially smoother graphics in some ways, and maybe even better RTX and all that, we're going to lose a lot in the process. A lot of the flavor and play style of Bethesda games that we all know and love. And then what was I saying beyond that? It was something else. Hold on. Oh, modability. Right now, all iterations that I'm aware of, and I'm not claiming to be super well informed, but all iterations I'm aware of any experimentation on engines like that result in basically effectively not moddable versions of the game. And there's no chance in hell the community wants that. I mean, the longevity of Bethesda games is exclusively tied to how moddable they are. And anybody that says otherwise isn't paying attention. So yeah, I don't want them to rush anything like that, and so the real pitfall that they're going to face with Elder Scrolls 6 has nothing to do with any of that, and it has 100% to do with the fact that they did Elder Scrolls Online, and so players are going to go into Elder Scrolls 6. They're going to see a very small region, comparatively speaking, that they can travel through and quest in, and they're going to be like, but you created all of the 3D assets for Elder Scrolls Online. Why didn't you just bring all of those into this? Why didn't you just, import the Elder Scrolls Online maps and all the history and the terrain, and right? That's what's going to happen. And they are going to get a shit show thrown in their face no matter what they do because of that expectation. Rockstar has their own, Rockstar has their own engine, which is a modification of something else. I can't remember what. And CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077 is another super moddable game. But even then, it's not as moddable as Bethesda games. It's more moddable than a lot of other game companies' engines. But I'd say it's probably about halfway between what everybody else does and what Bethesda does. But CD Projekt Red has their own engine as well. They have Red Engine. So, at the end of the day, if you want to make a game moddable, you need a custom game engine to do it. Most of the public game engines are designed at their core to not be modifiable by the player. Actually, yeah, no. What am I doing? What I was gonna got distracted. Okay, you don't want to go there? That's fine. Screw you too. How's that in the air? Weird. Oops. Well, like I played a little bit of Red Dead 2, not a ton. It wasn't my preferred aesthetic for a game, and I don't know. I just couldn't really get into it. Like I couldn't role play in my head in that environment. Cyberpunk 2077 took it or gained a lot from the fact that it was based on a an established pen and paper RPG with lots of storyline, and their rights for developing the video game were part of the contract included that they had to work with the original developer and author of the game, the pen and paper role-playing game. So they gained a lot of story from that. Sure, I'll give them credit for a badass development and a badass game, but they can't take all of the credit for the whole story or the characters or the world. That was all developed by somebody else. And then same thing with Witcher, right? They get a lot of credit for Witcher, and they should, but again, based on novels in an established universe with established rules, established lore, established characters. A lot easier to develop a game with a known IP where you don't have to have game developers sitting there drumming up story. That is a huge difference between what Bethesda's doing with Starfield and what these other game companies are doing with a pre-established IP. Now, do I feel like Starfield could use better story? Yes. I think it'll evolve over time. Right? If you look at the original Fallout game, Fallout 1, it had a good story in general, but it was also, by comparison to New Vegas, very shallow, story-wise. Because it was not an established IP yet, right? There wasn't tons of lore to pull from yet. The stories all hadn't been expanded and told. They didn't, they were just establishing it for the first time. And people forget that that's the case with games like that. Starfield will get there. It might be Starfield 2, Starfield 3, or whatever they end up being named, but the potential in this game is superior to the potential in Elder Scrolls, which has almost exhausted its storylines, and in Fallout, which is, again, almost exhausted its storylines and nearing the end of its life cycle. So, especially with the TV show for Fallout, I think the next Fallout game will end up being the last mainline Fallout game. They'll probably do spin-off games, but I think the next game concludes the overall overarching story. And I see something similar happening in Elder Scrolls. I think the next one is going to effectively be the last mainline game for the franchise. But that's just me guessing and speculating based on what I see. Damn shadows are kicking my ass. Well, I mean, we'll probably always have video games as long as humanity exists. Alright, so... Put it in the wrong place. In all three corners. Oh God, it's hard to keep track when you're talking now. Well, and so that gets back to conversations we've had before in Discord and probably even a couple of these lives. It's that unfortunately it's way too popular to be toxic. So, you know, there were people that came out of the gates expecting Starfield to suck before they even loaded it up. They were the first people to speak out against it publicly, and everything just kind of snowballed from there. And then there was a YouTuber I watched that was talking about the problem with Starfield being the community, where his point was that you know, his videos where he talked good about Starfield almost got no views, but his videos where he trashed Starfield got like tens of thousands of views in no time flat. And he was like, what the hell? He's like, I want to play the game. I want to talk good about the game, but I can't because I can't run my channel on positivity for Starfield. It's not popular. People tear it apart, and unless you're tearing it apart, you don't get views. And that's just kind of a sign of the times. It happens with movies, it happens with books, it happens with TV shows, it happens with video games. Unless it comes out and absolutely blows the doors off of every possible expectation, somebody's going to complain about it, and it becomes popular to be complained about from that point on. So then yeah, positivity does not sell. It should, but it doesn't. Because positivity isn't conflict. Conflict is what sells. So I have an example from the authoring world. And this is actually advice I've given to authors in the past. When you're looking at a book and you're trying to decide what should I keep, what should I cut, should I cut anything out of the book to make it shorter, and do I need to add more content, and yada yada yada. It always comes down to one major thing, or two major things. A, does it contribute something to the story in a meaningful way? And B, is it something the readers want to see? And generally speaking, what readers want to see is all based on conflict. Good example is, very few people on this planet want to read a novel where all that happens is the main characters sit around a dining table, right, and just constantly agree on everything, right? Where the dad comes home from work, he sits down, he thanks the wife for the food, they talk about what they did that day, and everybody had a great day, no problems at all. They all agree that they're going to watch the same movie. They all love the movie, and then they all kiss each other and go to bed at night, right? That is a conflict-free thing. The whole time you were reading that, you would be wondering what's going to go wrong, when is it going to go wrong, what's going to blow up, etc., etc., etc. And if it never pays off, if that never happens, you're going to hate that book. That is reality. That will get more complaints as a novel than any other novel. It's simply because we crave conflict. And conflict can be as simple as a simple disagreement about where people are going to go eat that night. Oops. I refuse to talk about J.K. Rowling on public forum. Let's just leave that at that. I have no idea what to do with this last room. No idea at all. I have no purpose for this last room. I have nothing to put in here. I have a spacesuit room, a weapon room, office between them, bedroom, which I still need to build some furniture into, apparently. Superman WO. DarkStar Emissaries isn't something that can actually be patched because it is 100% scripting. I or someone else could do a similar treatment to Lyra and those other, Robin Locke and all those other creations, but it would have to be one at a time, specific to that mod, and it wouldn't really be a patch for Darkstar Emissaries. It would just be an Emissaries treatment for that mod. Yes, J-Rod, that is a very, very clear statement and accurate. Alright, what do I do with this room here? I have a kitchen. I have an infirmary. I have a spacesuit apparel work area. A weapon work area. My bedroom. My office. An office for the crew at the outpost. A control station for the ships. Well, the bathroom isn't going to be this. This is way too big for a bathroom. I'm going to do my bathroom slightly differently this time, but I guess I'll come back to that. Since you guys keep saying bathroom. Because this time, I'm doing outhouses. Oh yeah, no problem, Roscoe. Lucky for all of us, I enjoy doing it. No, that's not what I want to do. No. You can stop snapping. That would be great. Stop snapping. How close can I get without... Probably weasel it over there. Yeah, let's try that. No, I can't use the back wall. But I can do this on the top. So attach that there. There. No, what was that? How did it kick to the side? And actually delete that. Go with this guy. And okay, that sucks that it won't fit underneath. Can you move, NPC, whoever you are? Go away. I'm gonna have to place this by hand in this orientation so that I can actually control what the heck is going on a bit. Alright, let's do it from somewhere where I can see what the hell it's doing. Right there. And going up. Too close. Stay out of my way, people. Decoration time. First of all, let's get a sign. Warning, biohazard level 1. Because, you know, Barrett will use this bathroom, so. I'm not saying motherfucker has irritable bowel syndrome, but motherfucker probably has irritable bowel syndrome. Where's the sink? There we go. There you go. Y'all happy? Got a bathroom. People can come take a crap or leave a crap, as it were. So all they got to do is go out the back door and up that ramp, and boom, they can go to the bathroom. Now, that still leaves the question, what do I do with that room? Because I honestly am out of ideas. A brig behind my bedroom. Also, how do you build a brig with Outpost components? Oh, there you go. That's what I'll do. I'll put my community lulz clickies in that room. Good call. Good call. No, Angry. What we need is the ability to build ship habs on the ground and have them connect to airlocks. That's what we need, sir. Actually, wait. There we go, that worked out nicely. Thank you for the suggestion. That's the inside completed. Let's see what we can do with the outside, if anything is even needed. They don't. So, looking from upstairs, they come in upstairs. This is my office. You would go through the spacesuit apparel crafting room to the bar and lounge. If you go the opposite direction through the weapons workstations, then you get to the bedroom. So it's specifically cut off so you can't just cross through. But something I need to do is a couple of antennas up here. So we'll go to... This thing is such a bear to place. I love having it, but it just, it just constantly spams need support. And like it wants to snap to that part of the ground, but I don't even know it's up there. Or how far away it is. And you can't place this very easily in third person mode. I'd love for it to sit over here. But it won't because it's not perfectly level ground. What do you mean the game doesn't have nav mesh working in vanilla? Not sure what you mean by that statement. Question. And now the trickery that can only happen on PC. It's like, despise when these things do this. Let's stop doing that. There we go. Well, I mean, the base game nav mesh does work. The problem is there's really only one master nav mesh file, and with all the mods trying to add nav meshes, sometimes conflicts happen. But I'm not a nav mesh expert, just to preface this. There are things that you have to do specially to get nav mesh to work, and we mod authors weren't even aware of all of them until very recently. Because, I mean, we didn't have the creation kit for the longest time, so I don't know. I think people are figuring it out. It just, especially when you're dealing with the older mods that probably just haven't been updated. And it just takes a lot of effort to do, and it's easy to mess up, so some mod authors don't even try. Can't say I fault them. I wouldn't be that person, but I can't say I fault them. Come on. Jesus. I think other than adding turrets, I don't think I'm going to super clutter the outside like I did. I don't want to cause, like I normally do, I don't want to cause crashes like I was having in the last Outpost. So I'll just go with turrets and then call it a day on the Outpost build. Oh my god, for you too. Oh, not that. Save. Now. Nope. Unassigned only. It's not about the a mod trying to allow it. It literally, a larger Outpost mod would make the matter worse. Because it's not that... the Outpost limits are there to prevent the crashes. When we exceed the limit, we crash. Which is exactly what I did. I had too much clutter, too many things. I exceeded the game's limit, and I crashed. Forgot to do that earlier. Why did that have 4 autosaves? Okay, it was 3. It does look pretty slick, huh?
You are the greatest. No.
I don't remember what the limit is.
Your ship smells so much better than Dad's? Like, a lot.
Hey, Justin. Good to see you again. Don't need to go anywhere else in the universe to allow my ground crew to show up. Let's just go to... Let's open up some more of the star map. Oh, yeah. And then you do Sam's companion quest to reunite his ex-wife with his daughter, her mother. Only for you to go into the Unity and him to go with you and bring the daughter and separate her once again from her mother permanently. May as well just killed the mother. Such a stand-up guy. It'd be different if there was a scene where the ex-wife shows up and gives permission for Cora to go. You know, but that doesn't happen. Mining outpost. Bleh. Correct, you're here for the gameplay, not the story. I'm glad somebody gets it. I mean, the story is, it's okay. The problem is we've been spoiled by games with better stories. Well, I mean, honestly, Angry, it's pretty much guaranteed nobody ends up with anybody. Yes, my minions. Find something to eviscerate. No human POI. Oh, wait, is there? Decrepit military installation. This isn't going to be any good, but let's go see it. Come on, girls. Should call this mod the armies all here. So the ship I flew in on is a new ship. It's not the one that comes with the mod. Just one I built. It has 6 crew, but also these are companions, not crew. They do happen to be assigned to the ship, but the gang's all here mod. They'll just follow you. There does not have to be room on your ship. This is usually, I think, like a scavenger or a survivor. Just like one person. Or no, this is the one where you usually have the UC Marines training, right? Yeah. Hey, bean tags. I like those. And Treasure run back to the ship, probably. All pissed off at me. Can't believe he did that. Yep. Easily solved. Constellation companions, Andresia. Teleport to me, son of a bitch.
What is it?
Anything I can do to help out?
Yes.
That's funny. You'll probably want to talk about it later. Constellation companions. That is main.
Goodbye.
So yeah, with gangs all here, whoever's your main companion has a chance to react to things you do that are negative. Like killing UC Marines. Well, notice Sarah didn't respond at all because she was not the main companion. Didn't mean to delete that. I don't need it. Okay. Let's go back to headquarters and see which crew have arrived and how confused they are.
something you might like. The way it's shaped reminded me of you.
Well, we got people under the ground, under the thing. Is that
Something I can help you with?
Sam and Marika and... Or no, they moved. They're on top now. They rescued themselves.
Hey, good to see you.
What are you doing?
Thanks for stopping to chat.
He's like inside the glass. How are you walking through the wall? I want to walk through the wall. I can't walk through the wall. I'm jealous. Oops. Why are you coming up to my area? Go downstairs to your area.
Hey, Captain. Need help with anything?
Yeah, can you kick these assholes out? I figured I'd bring this up if anybody wanted to see it. Oh yeah, I need to do the command for more ship parts. I really like this section here and how that came out. Yes. They're all grenades. Duck grenades. Alright, well, I think I am going to call it here tonight. Thank you all for hanging out. Been a great conversation night. I got a lot accomplished in my little Outpost build. Sure, you'll be seeing that Outpost in future videos. Look for an update to at least DarkStar Manufacturing this weekend. Got a few more of those description cleanups to do and fixes to do. And probably, if it works out, an update for Astrodynamics to clean up the ungodly engine list. Because this is ridiculous. Didn't have to scroll this much. So I'm going to look at some ways to possibly clean that up and see. Because I need it cleaned up before I move on to DarkStar anyways. So I will chat with you all again later. I think the next stream date is January 4th. So the Saturday after the 1st. Have a great night, and I will see you soon.